Welcome to the Igniting the CEO Within podcast, where we interview successful high-level professionals to discover lessons they've learned throughout their career that can help ignite that CEO within you. I'm Mark McFatridge, and I'll be your host for the next 15 minutes or so. Our show is sponsored by Quade, a nationwide community of CEOs and entrepreneurs. Quade has developed a platform for CPA firms, financial advisors, and other professional service firms to deepen existing relationships, attract new clients, and add advisory revenue and impact the lives of CEOs and entrepreneurs. If you'd like to learn more, go to quadecircle.com. I am really excited about our show today. I get to hang out with Zach Jones. Zach is the Director of Business Development for Edgewater CPA Group. He's the co-founder of the Owner's Circle, and he's one of the newest Quade Circle directors. Zach, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Man, I'm really excited. Edgewater was really the first firm that Quade started to work with to put together CEO peer groups within a CPA firm. And so, love the relationship that we have and love what you're doing. Would you share a little bit more about kind of the history of Edgewater CPA Group and the background, that type of stuff?
Absolutely. Yeah. So Edgewater was started by my Owner's Circle co-founder and owner of Edgewater, Brooke Ratia, back in 2008. And she really just she had an accounting background. She has a very interesting story that I'm sure she'll, come on the podcast and share with you someday, but a lot of varied experience working with small businesses, large businesses, the government, nonprofits, just kind of everything under the sun, honestly. And she decided to branch out on her own and had a few different kind of ideas for what she might go into, kind of initially thinking she would shift away from the accounting space. And all of these ideas that she had kept coming back to the root of what she really wanted to do and was passionate about was relieving stress for others. And her significant other at some point said, well, you can do that with the skill set that you have. And, so why don't you, take this on your own 2 feet and branch out and try to make your own, accounting business. So she started out, it was just her. And, long story short, cut to now we have a team of advisors that we're working with and several locations in Indiana, clients all over the US, but, really always embodying that base goal of relieving stress, and specifically for business owners. We do have a bank of personal only filing clients that we've acquired through the years and that we're always happy to have with us. But our focus really is those small to mid-sized business owners that are starting to feel the growing pains of, not having infrastructure in place. And there's a strange kind of juxtaposition that happens between the way that you have to kind of hit the ground running and build the plane as you're flying it with a small business, while also knowing when it's time to put those bones in place and be able to put a little bit more structure there to keep you from major issues. And tax filing is certainly one of those places where small errors and small issues have big impacts. So that's kind of our mission, is to be that trusted advisor and that expert on the side that's willing to walk you through those things. And the thing I hear most from clients is, I don't want to have to become a CPA to understand
Right.
the conversation or to take care of this. And we really kind of keep that in mind. We want to be the expert and communicate things in a way that really keep you in the seat that you like to sit in.
I love it. That I think that relief of stress is a really cool and kind of unique mission behind it, right? I don't know that I've heard that from CPA firms like stated that specifically. It really ties into one of the things that we wanted to talk about today, which is the installation of peer groups within your firm. And, when we first met, you were working on kind of the development of a peer group within the firm. Why? What is it that you saw that made you believe that your clients wanted and needed this community of like situated folks?
Yeah. So, like I said, our focus is small to mid-sized business owners, and what we've found is that those early to middle stages of business development are incredibly lonely, to
Yeah.
to be frank with you.
Yeah.
You're kind of, getting hit from all angles. You've got, staff that they're reading every expression on your face. They're, looking at how you come in. They're every element is being scrutinized, whether you think it is or not, about processes, procedure, how you carry yourself, how you communicate with people. So it's not always easy, and it's not always, someone's first inclination to share their doubts or the guesswork or, the things that they're unsure about with staff members. So, there's that piece of things. Business owners are people just like everybody else. They've
Mhm.
got, all of these external factors of family and finances and what have you that come into play and create additional stressors. And what we always try to do is try and be someone, I like to use this phrase, at the round table. You've got
Yeah.
like Arthur had his round table of knights, and everybody kind of had their thing that they did, but within the circle, within the people sitting at the table, you develop that trust, and are able to risk and reward and all of that together. So we try to be a seat at that table. And eventually we just had that kind of thought process of like, why not, add other people to that table?
Mhm.
And how do we create that additional value, by giving them not just a single source of cross reference and ability to check ideas through just strictly the tax lens, but also how do we help your business from a holistic standpoint, and
Mhm.
really help you strategically, and always make sure that your business strategy is in alignment with those things that we do so well here at Edgewater. So that was kind of the thought process in starting the owner circle, and all of the things that are kind of coming with it.
Yeah. No, I love that. And, there's really certainly adding having insight into compliance and technical accounting issues and all that stuff is great, and worthwhile, and people have historically paid for that. As artificial intelligence continues to move in, people are leaning on that more and more, whether it's 100% accurate or not, but that's what they're doing. And so this is almost a differentiator for you, right? That you're not just adding the technical component, you're realizing that well, you said it, that business owners are people too, and they have full lives, and they need to have sounding boards where they can share ideas, and experiences, and learn from people who have been through the same challenges and opportunities that they're going through. Again, obviously I'm a little bit biased, but I think I think it's the right thing to do because of the power of community.
Yeah, 100%. I think, I have thought about it in the past of, AI obviously is a huge factor. There's a lot of things going on in the CPA industry and the tax prep industry right now. You've got AI on one side of things, you've got, you know, uh, also CPA firms are kind of, uh, aging out
Yep.
in a
Yeah,
way too.
for sure.
You've got younger people that would be going into the accounting industry are going into, fintech and all of these other spaces because they just kind of, I think they're doing better marketing and culturally, they're more interesting. And then you just have a lot of CPAs at this point and CPA firms that are either they're at capacity, and if they're taking on new clients, people are feeling that capacity pressure and not getting the response times that they're looking for. Not a lot of growth in that space, and a lot of the industry is much older and is kind of ready to retire and selling their book of business or scaling down, or whatever it may be there. So there's a lot of uh, different headwinds in this space right now, and what we really want to do is set up a space. I believe that we're shifting slowly from the age of the information age and the kind of creator age into the curator age, where you used to need a CPA because they had the information that you needed. Well,
Mhm.
now that information is everywhere, but being able to parse through it and identify what's important and what's not, and what's viable and what's not, and what's trustworthy, that is its own full-time job. So the role of the CPA has shifted to one of curator, where we're going, hey, we know your time is valuable. We know that all of this is confusing. Like I said earlier, little mistakes have big impacts. So we're going to come in with our expertise, with the years that we've been doing this and all of the varied circumstances that we've seen for all of our different tax filers, and help you cut through that noise and really have a clear, identifiable, and reliable plan for you to do what you do best, and to sleep well at night knowing that compliance is not going to be an issue.
I love it. I may steal that curator age line. I
Have
really
at
like that.
it. I'm
That's
sure
really
I
good.
stole it from someone along the way.
Look, I've never had an original thought in my life, so I get it. Hey, so
Perfect.
let me ask, when we start to talk structurally about the owner circle, what do those circles look like? How many members are in them? How often are you going to meet? What are the goals? What does that owner circle actually look like within Edgewater?
Yeah, so the owner circle is basically a monthly gathering. We're thinking 8 to 10 business owners most of the time. We're small firm, we appreciate flexibility, so every group, again, going back to that curator
Mhm.
term, it is a curated space where we don't just want to find 8 people that'll sign on the dotted line and send them through the ringer. What we're really looking for is a curated space where and it helps having a bank of business clients that we know well and that we work with on a regular basis to really have that insight into kind of how they operate. But we're looking for groups of 8 to 10 that are willing to meet for basically a half day or so on a monthly basis, and really dig into a structured, facilitated kind of conversation about where they hope to take their business, kind of what's going well and what is not, and helping them troubleshoot, ideate, brainstorm, and most importantly, execute on whatever is developed in that space, to keep them taking actionable steps forward towards what they're looking for.
Yeah, I love that. I think the power of that peer group is to provide that space where each of the members, the allies, can be 100% unapologetically authentic and share vulnerably in a group, knowing that everything they talk about is confidential for life, and they're cheering for each other, and yet they're independent of each other, so they can have those um, candid conversations and really share and say, yeah, that's great, but I don't know that that's the right idea. Or more specifically, when I was in that situation, I did X, Y, and Z, and I screwed up X and Y, but Z worked out pretty good for me. So they almost accelerate your learning and your ability to get to that word execution that you used. I think it's huge.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was having a conversation with a business owner just a few days ago, actually. And I mean, he's been in business for decades, family owned business, passed down from his father. He's passing it down to his kid. And they're kind of in the middle of that transition space where, he's uh, still the one that's there from 7 in the morning to 6 at night or whatever it
Mhm.
is, and he's trying to hand over those reins and wants to do that the right way. And he was talking about a conversation that he had had with another business owner. um, just in passing, it was somebody that he knew through church, and therefore had built a relationship and kind of had that trust to be vulnerable with him in a moment, and shared it. And this gentleman was gracious enough to take a couple hours with him and kind of work through some things, pen and paper. And it was just like such a interesting kismet conversation to have, because he was
Mhm.
asking me what the owner circle was and then told me that story. And I was like, now imagine that with eight eight people rather than one people, and every
Yep.
single month. Like, where would your business be if you got that level of insight over and over and over again, and you could count on it? And that's exactly what we hope to offer. So
That's huge. Hey, real quick, do members of the owner circle have to be Edgewater clients?
no, they don't have to be Edgewater clients. Our main priority really is understanding, where they're hoping to go, and also what their skill set is. We certainly are, excited to have Edgewater clients in the pool, and do have some of those. But in general, we're looking for business owners that are compelled both to share their expertise and kind of take on the role of not mentor but collaborator, and
Hmm.
mentor when your strong suit is someone else's weak point. But it really is about the personalities in the room, making sure that the people there are complementary in their skill sets, and also ready to do the work. We understand that asking business owners to take a half day on a monthly basis, that's a big time commitment, and can be the biggest hurdle for some people getting in that room. And that's why we want to make sure that it's extremely worthwhile once you do take that dive.
Perfect. Perfect. Zach, this has been great. Would you share with people how they can get a hold of you?
Absolutely, yeah. So edgewatercpa.com is probably the easiest place. We do also have our own podcast called The Owner's Odyssey. We're kind of creating several different things in this theme of owners, the owner's channel, if you will. So we've got the Owner's Circle, which is going to be our peer group. We have the Owner's Odyssey, which is a podcast. It's about an hour podcast with very vulnerable deep dives with small business owners as well. We're working on a book called The Owner's Manual, so we're going to have a whole, kind of rigmarole of different resources for business owners who are looking to feel less alone in their journey.
I love it. Zach, thanks for hanging out with me today.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate you having me.
All right, y'all. There you have it. We've got a great insight from Zach at Edgewater CPAs and the owner's circle. As we wrap up, I want to remind you that Igniting the CEO Within is sponsored by Quade, a nationwide community of CEOs and entrepreneurs. Quade has developed a platform for CPA firms, financial advisors, and other professional services firms to deepen existing relationships, attract new clients, add advisory revenue, and impact the lives of CEOs and entrepreneurs. If you'd like to learn more, go to quadecircle.com. Until next time, keep igniting that CEO within you. I'm Mark McFatridge. Thanks for listening.